All right, welcome back to part two. And we are going to pick up where we left off, talking about how each letter makes its own sound and how this book that we're looking at, Making Sense of Decoding for Adults, breaks down all of those rules for us, right? So we need to know the sounds of each letter, but once we get past that, the real focus is on learning the sounds of syllables, to recognizing common syllables. In English, there are many syllables that are used over and over again and combined different ways in different words. So instead of, at first we focus on just the letters, but as we progress, we really want to focus on the syllables. And a lot of times the syllables have meaning that can help you even understand a word better. So this syllable is crat, and we could find it in words like Democrat and technocrat, right? Here's another common syllable, mag. This can also be a word like the mag to a gun, or a magazine, or a magnet, right? Okay, so when we're thinking about our word parts, we want to keep all of those in mind. So again, as a refrain, we have our CVC syllables that we're working with, and a lot of those are words unto themselves. So we have a word like beg and sled, right, with a short E sound, right? In the first activity in the book, or in lesson 2, activity A, they want you just to read the words in this list, focusing on making the short vowel sound. So the words are, all right, so let's give you a minute, and then we'll read the words together. In column 4, notice that these are not words unto themselves. These are word parts. These are syllables. Okay, column 1, best, bath, pack. Column 2, bad, rent, fled. Column 3, nap, mess, grasp. Column 4, hap, sen, cred. Column 5, slen, dras, san, right? So our big things we're working on here is the E and the A, right? Ah, eh. Okay. All right. Notice when you look at these words that, and although they are CVCs, they don't all have 3 letters. And many of them that have extra letters, those letters actually work together to make one sound. So we won't go too far into that, but these are some of the letter combinations that we want to start paying attention to. Okay. All right. So there are 6 syllable patterns that we learn about in this class. And most of these words, all right, so there's 6 syllable patterns that we learn about in this class, and the most common type of syllable pattern is the CVC syllable, a CVC pattern. So most of those will have a consonant, then a vowel, and then a consonant. However, not all of them, right? The rule is that in order to be considered a CVC, the syllable must have one vowel and end in a consonant. That's the rule. So we have a lot of different combinations that will suffice to fit this rule. We can have a consonant, a vowel, a consonant, CVC, but we could also have just a vowel and a consonant. There's no rule that says you have to have one before, right? The rule is that you have one vowel and it ends in a consonant, right? So the other forms we often come across are the vowel and then there's another vowel at the end. We'll talk about those later. Or 2 vowels together. Those aren't CVCs. These have long sounds, A, E, I, O, and U. What we're talking about are CVCs, short vowel sounds, A, E, I, right? Okay, so here are some words, and all of these words fit the pattern. Some of them have 3 letters, some have 4, some have 5. Some have 2 consonants in the front and 2 consonants in the back. The number of consonants is not what's important. What's important is the number of vowels and that it ends in a consonant, because that tells us that the vowel will make a short vowel sound. All right. All right, so we can look at these words and we can ask ourselves, do they fit the pattern? Look at them yourself. You have add, cake, try, of, and rain. Which ones are CVCs and which ones aren't? First one is. Second one isn't. All right? So the ones that don't work is for different reasons. This one has two vowels, not a CVC. That's a long A, cake. Try I, that's a long I. It ends in a vowel. Doesn't work. Rain, two vowels working together to make a long A, rain, right? So that's what we're talking about in these lessons. In part B, what they ask you to do is to apply this yourself. These are syllable parts. So look at them and decide, is it a CVC or not? I'll give you a second and then we'll put the answers up. Now, all right, here are the answers. All right, did you get them right? What are the similarities between the CVCs and not the CVCs? Can you explain it to someone else? If you can put it in your own words, that's like a good way to know that you understand it. If we were in class, I would make you tell me how it works, right? But take a minute and process it. Think about it. Two vowels, that's a long vowel sound, right? Two vowels, long vowel. O at the end of the word, that's a long vowel sound. It's called an open syllable. All right, we'll learn about those later. All right, so there's just a couple more of our word parts that we were talking about before with our syllables. So we could have a syllable mod, and that could become a part of the word modify or modern. We could have the syllable trans, and it could become part of transit or transfer or transport, right? All right, so the syllables is a big deal that we want to work on in this book, and that's what we're going to get to as soon as we get through a couple more of our rules about phonemes and spelling in general. But let's just look at this word and say, what is this and how many syllables does it have? Well, how many vowels does it have? It has 3 vowels, I, E, and I. What do we separate it like this? What if we separate it like this? Then we have discredit, right? This is what we'll be working on when we are working here in these lessons. But what we want to work on for today are some of the spelling rules. And this one is about CVCs that end in S, F, or L. When we end a CVC in S, F, or L, we have to double the final consonant, right? There's a reason for that, which we'll explain later as we get into the rules, right? So a one-syllable CVC word that ends in S, F, or L, the final consonant is doubled. Here's a list of words that fit that. And of course, as always in English, there are exceptions such as is, gas, and pal. But generally, this rule will hold. All right, so think about that and think about all the sounds that the different letters make, because we're going to do, when we return here, a dictation. In these lessons, we want to work with the short vowels, the CVC, specifically A and E. So we see some words here, and these words are very similar, but they are different, right? So we have pat and pet, man, men, tan, and ten. So just that changing that vowel makes a whole new word, right? All right, so in the spirit of that concept of the short vowel sound, we can do some rhyming practice. So there are some pages here for you. You can just write these down in your notebook, and you think of all the words that rhyme with the word pat, right? And you can just put the letters from the columns over here, like a H, H-A-T, that's hat, right? That rhymes, pat and hat. And you do the same with the E-T. There's a couple more here for you. There's past And pest, right? What if you put a L, right? What if you put, can you put an L over here? Can you put it in both places? I don't know. Sometimes you need a dictionary to look them up, right? But check it out, sound them out. And if you make up some fake words or some word parts, that's okay. It's really about hearing the sounds and practicing the sounds. So when we get back here in the next lesson, we're going to have a progress check. We're going to have some words. And in the light of the new atmosphere, I'm going to give you the words now, study them, and in the beginning of the next video, remember, let's see if you'll still be able to spell them.